Professor in Business School of National University of Singapore, Dr. Lester, Dr. Harvinder, our respected adjunct faculty, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone in this hall for attending this event. It's my pleasure to be the Master of Ceremony for this event today. I'm Katie Sangren, and on behalf of Malaysia University of Science and Technology, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We truly appreciate you taking time off of your busy schedule. To begin this program, we are pleased to have Professor Dr. Prem Kumar to deliver his welcoming speech this morning.
A very good morning to Professor Dr. Lester. Despite your busy, tight schedule, you still make a point that you want to be with us. We truly appreciate your thoughts and your love for Malaysia University of Science and Technology, Dr. Lester. And Dr. Harvey, Prof. Sal, the Provost of Academic, Dr. Janaka, the Director of IPS, and my faculty is seated over there, Dr. Amir, Dr. Kashia, Dr. Raj, and most important, the participants, our PhD candidates here. Welcome once again to Malaysia University of Science and Technology. We really look forward to seeing you each colloquium, because we believe that for each colloquium that we call you to come and join us, we have something of value to deliver to you. So even this colloquium, 2018, the first colloquium, we have great values to be shared with you. So please be with us for the next 4 days. Next 4 days. Allow me to quickly give you some updates on Malaysia University of Science and Technology before we could start off with the first speaker, Professor Dr. Mark Gore, a friend of mine, same discipline on supply chain. It's just that he is in NUS and I'm here in Malaysia. And we used to meet as co-researchers in some forum, and that's how I managed to talk to him, and he'll be joining us soon. He's on the way. So while we are waiting for Dr. Mark Gore, let me take you through some updates from the Malaysia University of Science and Technology. So for those of you who have just joined the program, PhD program, it might be new. For those who have already been with us, maybe this is just again drumming back the same story, but please bear with me. So as you know, we have got the MIT heritage, and we carry the MIT culture, systems, and process and procedures. So we are again holding on to that culture, sticking very strongly to that culture, and that is the reason why we are having this colloquium. Unlike other universities where they don't have PhD colloquium, but we started off with this PhD colloquium to model what MIT is doing. And so for 2018, our main focus is on these 3 pillars for the university. That is, the first one is looking at enhancing teaching and learning component. Enhancing teaching and learning component, where we keep on investing on technology so that we can reach and we can have the access to a bigger geography. And number 2, building on world-class faculty. As you can see, each time you come into the university, you'll find new faculty members joining us. New faculty members joining us, and again, we invest in getting the best faculty members, not only who are very highly knowledgeable, but also people who are willing to share their knowledge with us. So for those of you who have not met Dr. Suresh, can you please stand up? Is it Dr. Suresh? Please give him a welcome. Thank you, Dr. Suresh. He's a Malaysian economist, and you would have seen in newspaper he's writing article on Malaysian economy. So he's now with us as a full-time faculty member, and we are looking for some students to join him. So he'll be taking supervision for some of you who are interested in the area of economic and so on. And that's not my forte. That's not my forte, but that is Dr. Suresh forte. So then we also have Dr. Hussein. Dr. Hussein, Associate Professor Dr. Hussein. And Dr. Hussein is from UPM. His forte is marketing. Yeah. And then next to him, we have the Dean, School of Business, Dr. Shain. Yeah. Sorry, Associate Professor Dr. Shain and Associate Professor Dr. Hussein. My apology. Yeah. Yeah. So academically, you need to sound it well, otherwise people get upset. Huh? I hope you're not upset with me. Yeah? Okay, so Dr. Shahin, his area is actually strategic management and marketing. So those of you, don't worry, if you are appointed to one particular supervisor, you always have the freedom to cross over to another supervisor for discussion. Not changing supervisor. Changing supervisor, Dr. Janaka will never agree to that. Yeah? So, but then you have the opportunity to cross over to ask, what do you call, opinion, to seek opinion and to have options for you. So please feel free to meet up with these people during your networking, your tea networking. And the tea and lunch networking is not for you to, again, get back to your old colleagues and talk to your old colleagues the same story that you've been talking, No, please. The networking tea and networking lunch and dinner is specifically designed for you. That slot is given for you to have sharing with someone new whom you don't know, especially the faculty members. And I'll make sure the faculty members join you for those networking tea, lunch and dinner. Yep. So we invest very heavily on building the world-class faculty. And then moving on, exceptional research and innovation. Yep. So Malaysian Institute of Science and Technology is seriously getting into these innovations and getting into research. Yeah, we have got very strong researchers with us, and people like Professor Dr. Lester, who have written many books and research articles. He's willing to share. Professor Dr. Salapan, recently he just finished his book. Another book, I don't know, this may be the 20th book or what, Prof, you're publishing, okay, in his IT world, and he's just waiting for another publication, and also he's conducting research. Every time I see him going back home late, I know he's doing some research, and this man always goes back home late, and I think research is part and parcel of his lifestyle, So, we focus very heavily on research, hence, we want you to have the tradition. We want you to carry the tradition of Malaysian Institute Science and Technology Research tradition. You must carry the tradition. That's how we will make a difference. We are not here just to, have many students in PhD and be happy about it. Oh, we got so many PhD students. What is the point of having so many students when we don't have the tradition of research? We want to have the research component. And that's why we are interested. What do we get as an institution, end of the day? What do people who supervise your work get end of the day? If you publish paper. Now, on this chapter, on this discussion, I would like to call, please come in. Come. Dr. Islam, come, please take your seat, Tangga, please. So, on this area of research and innovation, I would like to call my student who has been with me for the past 1.5 years and has published 3 papers in international journal. Can you please, Anton? Can you please? Give him a round of applause. He has not completed his PhD. And he has published 3 research papers. And those research papers are not in conference, not in a normal journal, not in open source. It is Scopus journal. And his latest one was in the Journal of British Marketing Studies. British Journal of Marketing Studies with the impact factor of 6.8. That's very high. This is what we want to see. Not only one person. We want to see all of you to publish paper while you are seated here with MUST. That's why I say we want to pass the tradition to you. We want you to hold to that tradition so that when you go back to your institution or to your work environment, you will have research as a culture. You will take research to be a culture for you. And we are here to support you. We give you access. We give you the discussion. We'll tell you where to publish papers, which journal to target, this discipline, target this journal. we support you through that. Yeah. So that's the tradition. Hi, Prof. Come. Good morning. Come. Yeah. Please come. So we have the tradition, and we have the faculty members who are working on the research. Hence, we want you to take that tradition together with you. We want you to carry the tradition, not just while you are a student here. Even you have finished your tenure as a student, teacher, we still want you to go for publication. And I'm sure all the faculty members here are willing to support you through. Yeah. So please, the next colloquium we are going to have, I want to hear a lot of success story from you, saying that, hey, I have published paper, I have published my paper. I'm happy. So far, I don't know, maybe some of you have published papers, but so far, as far as I'm concerned, this gentleman has published 3 papers within 1.5 years. And his papers are all related to his PhD work. That is interesting, yeah? That's interesting. As you go through the exploration, you keep on publishing. Your exploratory study, your descriptive studies, good enough. Wait for the finding later on. Empirical, look for later. Put it for later, but you can go with your publication. So that is the third pillar that we have. And the next one is the international dimension, where we believe that we have the product, we have the knowledge, we have the research component, and we want to have access to other geography. So today we are successful. We have entered the Vietnam. Yeah, we are with the Vietnam partners, with the NTT University, with Nam Kam Tu University, with Gamma DAC, many more to come. On the 16th of this month, we have got Dr. Wen, who will bring a team of, I think, about 20 delegates, university presidents to be with us, and we are here to share with them our products, our programs, and we really want to partner with them. So Vietnam is a very strong footage for us, yeah. And next in China, we have got our 11 PhD students sponsored by the government of China. They are here. Thank you very much. I know it's a tough time for you all, yeah. First, you need to get the language first, yeah, getting used to the language, learning the language, and then going on. So you are here with us almost a year, and it's off for you, yeah, it's off for you. Your initial plan was only 3 months, but you stayed back until now. You are here with us. It's up for you, and I know you guys are really serious, and thank you for putting in that seriousness, and I'm sure you will, end of the day, carry value to your institution, yeah. So we are there. And also, we are already having our presence in Nigeria. We are having our presence in Nigeria, specifically on supply chain management. And we started off very small 6 months ago with 14 students. And today we've got 57 students doing supply chain masters with us in Nigeria. So that's another presence. And April, as we have vision always that we want to go to London, in April, with the support of Dr. Lester, Professor Dr. Lester, we'll be in London. Yeah, April starting off. An official launch of our campus in London will be in July 2018. So when we have the launch, we'll call you. If you have the time, please come and join us. Yeah. So that is our fourth pillar. The last one is transformative student experience. This one I agree. I surrendered. I tried my very level best, and I know we are not scoring high on this. I agree with you. Be very frank, yeah. The other 4 pillars, yes, we are there. But these, we are not, yeah. But give us time, believe we are putting our thoughts to it, and we will come up with something better each time to create value for you, yeah. So what we have given you today, I still believe it is, maybe average or below average, yeah. We have given you the access for journal, we are giving you our support system, we are giving you the faculty, but I think there's something else beyond that you are looking for. Yeah. If you have any idea about how we can continue to work together on enriching the students' experience, please come forward and share with us your thoughts. We are willing to listen and we are willing to invest on it. Yeah. Some interesting things that some recent development. Yeah. Recent development. Okay. ALC, Asia Logistics Supply Chain Council, we launched last year, somewhere 3rd quarter of last year, and today we are looking for membership. We are seeking membership from industry. As you can see, parallel, the other room there, we have got about 50 industry members already there, industry guys from all the logistics company here. They are there, and they are there for a workshop coming here. So we are there, the industry guys are there, and they are all from logistics, and today we got 1-day logistics simulation lab workshop. We are providing for industry players over there. Yeah. So again, this is part of our ALC initiative. Yeah. So for those who are interested in logistics supply chain and you want to become a member of the council, please come in and meet up with Dr. Janaka. Mr. Rajan is also there, and he can get you into. And the best message for you for today morning is this. They are working right now, almost 90% done, with United Nations, ITU, International Telecommunication Union, to set up a center of excellence. Yeah, center of excellence in this university for IoT and IPv6. A research grant from United Nations. And the idea, the mission of that is actually to provide training for 192 countries in the world. So we, the smallest university, will be providing training on IoT and IPv6 with that 1.2 million USD grant to the developing countries for the next 3 years. So take pride of this. Take pride of this. Maybe the next time you come, you have the signage there. United Nations IoT Center of Excellence. Yeah? So for those of you doing PhD in informatics and technology, take pride of yourself. You should be, proud that the university that you're working on is actually the center for IoT, for training 192 countries in the world on IoT and IPv6. Yeah? And the whole project will be headed by Professor Dr. Sureshwaran and supported by Professor Salapan. Yeah? And Econet, anyone heard about Econet? Econet? No? Econet is a consortium in Japan. Well, consortium, you know, right? It is a collaborative working environment between industry and academician and regulatory bodies. That's what we call consortium. Regulatory bodies come together, industry comes together, and academicians. So we have this consortium in Japan, Econet consortium, headed by Professor Masaki. The mission is actually to set standards for IoT. Today you have IoT everywhere. IoT, smart device, blah, 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 and so on. But there isn't a standard for the world. So Econet Japan is actually spearheading that standards. And with the support of Professor Masaki from Japan, now we have established the Center for Econet Malaysia. And we are the founding member. The university is the founding member for Econet Malaysia. So we will be working with Professor Masaki in Japan. And I received an email from Professor Masaki that the Econet consortium has agreed, and they will be having student mobility coming from Japan, joining us for research on IoT. Yeah? So they'll be reporting to Prof. Sal and Prof. Suresh. Now with the PhD, where are we? Where are we? This data is January 2018, Dr. Janaka? January 2018, right? Maybe February 2018, March, we are more than 162. So today, we have got 162 PhD students with us. We started this colloquium, I remember, with about 14 students PhD. That was 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. And today, we've got 162 students with us. Yeah? It is a mixed feeling, It's a mixed feeling. At one end, I'm very happy with the number growing. On the other hand, I'm also very, very cautious and worried. And I have to keep on thinking about how can I continue to add value to my student. Yes, getting student is one. Yeah. Second, ensuring that they are in a right system. And when they graduate, they go out, they have the tradition that is research tradition. This is the biggest challenge for us, yeah? So we told ourselves that when we have the mark of 200, then we will pull the handbrake and say, hold on. Yeah? So the management, we have decided. So I think by June or April, we will get the 200 students. So once we reach the 200, then Dr. Lester, we have to pull the handbrake and say, we have to stop and think. Yeah? Because we have to think about value adding. That is our mission. And this university is not for profit, as I said earlier. This university is not for profit. It's not that I have 200 students, 300 students, I make good profit. No! No one is going to siphon the money away from this university. It is going to be plowed back. So our mission is to think, what should we do next to our students? Yeah. So our target, I told the chairman, we are not going to go more than 200. Because these 162 we reached within 1.5 years. So moving forward, we will stop the intake. Yeah. Until we get the right value proposition. I want to really explore, Dr. Lester and Prof. Sal, we really need to explore the value proposition for our PhD students. Once we get the right value proposition, then we'll move. Then we'll release, then we'll take the PhD student. Otherwise, at 200, we will stop. We want to deliberately stop at 200. Okay? So for those of you already in the system, congratulations and all the best for you to work hard with the research tradition that we have. Yeah. So you know the pressure. We get the pressure. So neither you cannot escape the pressure. So you also need to get the pass on of the pressure. Yeah? But don't worry, we will support you through. And a very recent achievement by one of our PhD students, Prof. Sal's PhD student, he was given the award of Professional Technologies. This is the first time in Malaysia they are introducing this title called Professional Technologies. Like how an engineer gets an IR, yeah, an academician gets a professorship. So this is something new the Malaysian government have introduced, and he was the first recipient in Malaysia to get this title. And we are very happy, and thank you, Prof. Sal, for working for us for this. The announcement was made just a week ago. Yeah, you can check at least our student. Yeah, Muhammad Pantu. So today we have our international presence in this various geography. Yeah, we have our international presence, and we will continue to go with international presence on our MSc program, Master's program. Yeah, we had a very good discussion with some of the logistics service provider in Saigon. Yeah, logistic provider in Saigon, and we are working very closely with the logistics service provider, especially the Seaport Authority. Yeah, to offer the MSc in logistics and transport. So I always believe that getting close to the industry is the best. Yeah, so we continue to work. And the last 2 weeks ago, I was in Myanmar. I had a discussion with the Seaport Authority of Myanmar. They have very small volume. Their volume is only about 1.2 million TEU per year. Very small volume, very small volume. I think Saigon Port has got about 5.6 million TEU per year. And our best port, that is Klang Port, has got the highest, that is 8.6. Compared to China and all, you cannot go near to China, 30 million TEU. So, but then, you know, we are growing. So, Myanmar is another port which is upcoming, and we find that we can add value to Myanmar Seaport. So, we are getting into Myanmar Seaport to offer our MSc program in the Myanmar Seaport. Yeah, and also India. We are working with 2 states in India, Andhra and Kerala. Andhra, am I right? Tanga? So we are working with 2 states in India, Andhra and Kerala, to offer our MSc program. Again, it is MSc in Logistics and Transportation, and together with MBA Supply Chain. So we are getting our international presence very clearly. We are going, and without compromising quality. This is what I believe. Whatever we do, no compromise on quality. Quality should never be compromised. No? It's okay to compromise on money, fees. That's okay, but not on quality. Yeah. So we are very careful in our growth as we are going through the international presence. Yeah. Well, so this time colloquium. Last time we got Dr. Shadul from MIT. Yeah, my colleague, and this time we got another colleague here of mine, Professor Mark Gore, very senior faculty in NUS, and he has got vast experience in supply chain. We share the similar discipline of supply chain, and I'm sure you will enjoy his talk. Yeah. With that note, I think I better end my okay. Oh, this colloquium, we have these 3 gentlemen, and some other Nurul, we missed one more. We missed one more, that is Professor Zainal. Yeah, we missed Professor Zainal on Thursday. Yeah? So we got one more, Professor Zainal, who is actually the president of Malaysian Case Study Society. So those who are interested in doing a PhD case study research, Prof. Zainal is the right person. So he'll be taking an address on the Thursday. Thursday, Prof. Zainal will be here. Yeah. So then we have these three gentlemen. Clement Arul is another industry player. He's an industry player, Clement. He is very much into industry in IoT, specifically looking into logistics and so on. So you will have a lot of sharing with you. Okay. So with that, once again, I welcome students to this PhD colloquium. A lot of coordination, agenda has been shared with you. I hope all of you got the agenda, right? Anyone here don't have the agenda for the colloquium? No, all. Yeah? Many times as you posted with all the WeChat and the WhatsApp, people are now having access. So please, all of you have the agenda. Please adhere to the agenda. Time is important. And if you're given a break, 15 minutes, be on time in the session. Yeah. And I told Dr. Janaka, as I said to you also, that we really want to make sure that this is a value-adding mission. It's not a commercial event. It's not a commercial event. It's a value-adding mission. So please adhere to the timetable, be on time into the sessions, and Dr. Janaka will be taking attendance, and this attendance will be in your system, your student record system, so that to keep you active PhD student. Yeah. Because we meet you only 3 times in a year, face to face like this. So please be with us. Yeah. With that note, thank you very much, Prof. Go, to be with us, and Dr. Lester, despite your tight schedule, you choose to be with us. And I hope that you will continue to add value to our mission in this university, Dr. Lester. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Prem Kumar, for the insightful welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our guest of honor, Professor Mark Goh, the Professor in Business School of National University of Singapore, to begin his talk on supply chain and management.
Sorry, I'm very old school, okay? So don't expect any PowerPoint or any elaborate gizmo, because my reckoning is that the more PowerPoints I have, the worse I become, right? Because I'll be reading to the slides and not looking at you and interacting with you. So if you are looking for PowerPoints, my apologies, all right? But wait another 50 years, I promise you, I will learn how to use the PowerPoint. Seriously. Anyway, while the technology gets up, sure, no problem. While the technology gets into way, let me say good morning to you. And also thank you for having me. And I beg your indulgence and being patient with me, because sometimes I do get carried away, right? And some modifications, minor corrections. I'm not just with the business school in Singapore, but I'm also a director of research at the Logistics Institute. So I do a lot of research in my other half of my life at the university. Research that I do touches very closely with industry, simply because I worked in industry before, right? I used to manage 25 countries in Asia, Middle East, right? Looking at supply chain solutions. So that was my past life. So, and right now, today, what I will do is 2 things. More importantly is to try and answer your questions, but I don't claim that I have all the answers to your questions, as you can see, right? This is the most important technology for me, right? Yeah, which is also a reason why they invented PowerPoint, because they reckon that, you know, if everyone of us is going to have this technology, then it's going to be very heavy, right? But of course, you know, with this, you never get sick because you're always exercising constantly, right? With PowerPoint, I'm not sure. Okay, so back to where I was going to say. So what I would do. Sure. Okay, which way do I start? I know there are only 2 ways to do it. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, do you? You guys are very high tech. Okay. Sorry, sir. I'm not one of those who will sell all those MLM things, okay? So please forgive me. Oh, there's somebody at the back. Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay, good, thanks. I'm very comfortable when you're here. Okay. Otherwise, this thing doesn't work, then I'm in trouble again. Okay, so what about, oh, okay. Okay, that one, yeah. Otherwise, okay, so like I was saying, so my task today is not to go and give you a whole, I think what is 20 minutes is that you're having. Is it 20 minutes lecture? Wow, okay, thank you. see, you guys are well prepared, much more prepared than I. Okay, thanks. Okay, so how much time do I have this morning? So short, Okay, fine, no problem. Let me see, time now is okay. We'll go for this, shall we? Okay, yeah, we just aim for that, because there's a good reason behind that also, because I have to catch a plane again, right? So I cannot miss my plane. Otherwise, tomorrow my client will be upset at me, most upset at me. Okay, no, sorry, yes. So I intend to use this time to do a few things. One, okay, if I may just park the agenda here for us to see. I guess what you want to do is to talk about this magic word, right? Second is, I will talk about the whole journey, and perhaps relate to you my perspective, because each of us, our journey, our perspectives will be different, right, based on our previous experience or our past life. Third, maybe to encourage you or whatever, right, to highlight about the pitfalls and challenges, right, that will exist. Right. By the way, you don't have to copy all this, okay? I'm going to make a very interesting, simple suggestion to you. And the suggestion is very simple. This activity of copying you should outsource. Right? In all good logistics practice, you should outsource this to one person in the classroom who's the fastest copier and who is the most accurate copier. Then you pay him a little premium and ensure you get quality for work. Then you can all listen and enjoy the first class seat that you're sitting on. Okay, so that's where you make money for everybody. And the guy who's being outsourced to will be very happy, because then he's got a new job, in case he doesn't want to do a PhD. Okay, then what I will do, and I think in your folder I put in a couple of papers, okay? 2 papers, where we will then dissect and discuss. Right? More importantly, discuss about the review process. Right? Because this is the one that makes or breaks your research career. Okay, then once that's done, the last item for this today's meeting is actually the AOB. Okay, so if there are any questions, anything that I've not covered in the first 4 points, do feel free to just ask. Okay, second thing is now, for this 90 minutes, as you know, 90 minutes can be a very short time or can be a very long time. For me, 90 minutes is actually very long, right? Usually, my presentations are 20 minutes. Why? For a simple reason. I have a challenge beyond 20 minutes, and the challenge is as follows. I have to try very hard to keep awake. Right? So you got to help me to help you. Right? And the way you can help me to help you is to, as we go along, please feel free to ask questions. Right? The more you ask, the easier for me to share with you, because I really don't know what you don't know. Right? And only you know what you don't know. True? Yeah, so that's the best. Okay, so if you can, ask questions along the way, any point. Just throw some things. I'll be happy to touch base with you. Oh, not so fast. This one doesn't scare you. It's okay. Don't worry. I don't want to scare them yet. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the. Is it okay, guys? Okay. So far up to now, who does not understand what I've said? If you find that I'm too fast, right? Slow me down. If you find that you cannot understand what I say, let me know, and I'll change to another dialect of English, which I've yet to decide. Is it okay? A little bit slow down. Okay, slow down. Huh? So, very simple, young lady. If you look at me, you cannot understand, then you do 3 things. 1, open your eyes big. right? I look lost. If I still cannot see you, then you do the next stage. You put your hand on your chin like that, right? And I still cannot see you, you let go of the tripod, you fall your head on the table, then everybody wakes up, then I promise you I will notice you. Is that okay? Okay, fine. See, okay. All my technologies are being moved away, right? So strange, okay. So suddenly I feel so, wow, bad, for want of a better word, okay. Okay, fine, let's go back to this one. Research. I assume why we are here today is because of this, isn't it? Now, can someone tell me what you understand by this 2, 4, 6, 8-letter word? By the way, this 8-letter word, don't believe what the Chinese says. That 8 is a good number, it's the best number. It's not true, okay? Because this 8-letter word is not a number that can make you money. If anything, this 8-letter word is a number that will make you lose money. Right? And I'm serious about that because you don't just lose money as in this one, but you also lose money as in this one. True? Huh? I speak from the heart. Huh? It's very realistic, okay? Because anyone tells you so you can make money here, it's like me asking you to go and buy the lottery, and tomorrow I guarantee you will strike. You should know you will not strike. Right? Because if you strike, you won't be here today. Okay. So, can someone tell us, what do you understand by this? What is your version of this 8-letter word? By the way, okay, first I'll tell you first, okay? There's no prize here from me, if you get it right or wrong, okay? Right, so don't have to worry that you get a lousy prize from me. No, I got no prize today, as you can see. I only came in that bag, and I'm going back in that bag, that's all. Right, so no prize, but it's just make friends only, okay? All right, anybody who's brave enough to answer my question? No one? Yes. By the way, you must be a student to qualify first. You know why? Because once you ask, I tell you, all the students will keep quiet. Then they start copying what you say. Then because they think your faculty, whatever you say, whatever we say must be correct, right? Then you copy, you know. Then worst part, you know what? After they copy, you go outside and say, my teacher told me this, so it must be correct. Then you say, hey, what did your teacher tell you? The guy will say, my teacher didn't tell you anything. Well, then you say, the teacher not good. My teacher told me everything. That which is not true. Everything might not be everything correct. True or not? Okay, fine. Okay, anyway, I'll go to you, sir.
Just one word, like in-depth analysis.
In-depth analysis, wow, so deep. Okay, sorry. In-depth analysis. Okay, I'm a bit crude as a person, okay? Whenever I see the word analysis, sometimes I know it makes people very anal about it. Right? Because you know why? You can analyze till the cows come home. Right? And still find nothing, you know, and then tell about the same thing. I'll give you an example, okay? Who likes coffee here in this room? See, these are honest people, right? But what did the doctors tell you? Is it good or bad for health? Some say good, some say bad, right? So what's the last research on coffee? Serious? I'm dead serious. What's the last research on coffee? Is it good or bad or ugly? Tasty. Okay. Maybe coffee is not a universal drink. I accept it. Now, who takes eggs every day? Eggs. Anybody? As in chicken eggs or whatever. Do you all take eggs? No, not every day. Why? Because research says what? Cholesterol, right or not? They say you cannot take more than 3 eggs a day. My wife told me that for 20 years, and every day in 20 years I argue with her. Because I said, I need my egg, because my mother told me, must take egg every day, it's good for you. But my wife says, no. She says, the doctor says, no more than 3. So every time I ask her an egg, right, she'll look at me and say, okay, fine. Someone cooks the egg, she takes the egg away, right? I can't get to eat. I look at the egg, I get upset. She said, no problem, you get yourself tomorrow. But I told her, I want my egg fresh. Then that's okay, that egg will be for you tomorrow, not today. Because you've done your quota yesterday. It just gets upset. Why? Because of this word, isn't it? Research today says what? For eggs. In the past was what? They said, doctor says, don't not to have an egg every day because your cholesterol is bad for you. And guess what? Today, the most recent research says that having eggs is good. All of a sudden, you're not crazy, right? Right? So now what does that mean? Do I have to go and make up for the lost eggs in the last 20 years? 3 times. right, a week, right? So 3 times 52 weeks times 20. Oh, scratch my head. Now let me see. Let me try and work it out. 3 times 52 times 20. 3 because 3 times a week, there are 52 weeks in a year, 20 years, right? So that is how many? Wow, goodness. 3,000 eggs, man. I think if I eat one shot 3,000 eggs, I'll die. True, this is really high protein feed, really. Automatically die, okay? So what does that mean? It means this. Some jokers have gone in the case of eggs, okay? A simple thing. To have done a in-depth research and analyze it to the cows come home, literally. Right? To say that, hey, there's one verdict out there from research, established research. Well, of course, I must be very careful here. I'm using very challenging words. Okay. These are the 4 words that usually you will see when we talk about doing research. The first one is that research must be established as in it must be established by respectable institutions or respectable scholars, right? So sometimes you find that, hey, you know, what makes you say that your research is acceptable to the layman? For example, the case of eggs. It's because they say some famous doctor in Harvard says so, right? Then after, guess what? All the companies that are trying to sell the eggs to supermarkets say, this is a good egg because it's a low, no cholesterol egg and has been certified good based on the research by X and X or so and so author, right? They will say, this is from whatever university, right? The better the name, the more credible the research, and the more you're likely to believe it, right? But is that true? Okay, is that true? Right? So established, reputable, comprehensive, and thorough. Of course, if I told you that question, how do you tell whether taking an egg every day is good or bad for you? How do you make sure that it is thorough? How do you make sure it is comprehensive? Right? I guess one way to do is to allow a guinea pig subject to take the egg every day, monitor him for the rest of his life, and put another one to say, okay, you can only take 3 eggs a day, right? Or 3 eggs a week, and then monitor him for the rest of his life. And the one whoever knocks off first will be the one that's proven correct or otherwise, isn't it? But of course, in my case, I'll volunteer to take an egg a day. But my wife will say, no, you know, you cannot qualify, right? Because you say, you know, you can only take 3 a week. So tough, right? I choose to be a subject for 1 experiment. But my wife will say, otherwise, you can only be a subject of the other experiment. No. But if you look at it carefully, what am I saying? For it to be comprehensive and thorough most times today, right, you have to follow through the lifespan. And we can't afford that. Right? And because we can't afford that, that creates a lot of what we call validity and reliability issues. And that's why when you study your course on research methods, one of the things your instructor would have told you is, hey, how do you make sure the questions that you ask are valid for the experiment? How do you make sure after you ask those questions, right? How do you make sure that they are reliable enough for people to believe them, isn't it? Right? Because you can sample and you can choose a convenient sample such that you get the results that you want to hear and say, oh, this is what it is, I published. And that's exactly what happens in the case of coffee and eggs, right? Where some scientists will say, oh, I've done this test, I've done it, but then they say, oh, but you already did it in the US, right? So it's not valid. Or they say, okay, coffee. Why do you do coffee in a coffee drinking country? You say, oh, if you do coffee in a coffee drinking country like Italy, definitely they say coffee is good for you. But if you do coffee in a non-coffee drinking country, for example, like India or parts of China, then they say, hey, tea is better, isn't it? Less harmful. And they give you all sorts of reasons. They even tell you, you know, how to make the tea without the caffeine, right? They say, don't jiggle the tea bag. And you wonder, what does that mean? Right? So, strange ways of doing research, but research is about ensuring that what you have done can be replicated, and if somebody were to reproduce it in another form, it should not change, as in it can be reproducible easily, And the research results you get must be reputable. Now, if you look at the 3 R's that's linked to the word research, actually, none of it matters except this one. True? Right? Reputable. That's the most important. Because in research, in the world of research, it's the worst world to be in. If you think you're in corporate life, that's backstabbing. But I'll tell you, actually, corporate life is the easiest life because it's only Monday to Friday. It's over. Forget it. Tell your boss, don't call me. I'll call you on Monday. But of course, don't try that, okay? Don't try that. That's what I'm saying only, yeah? If you lose your job, don't say I said this, okay? Just remember that, yeah. Must be very careful. But I used to do that, okay? I used to do that. Tell my boss, hey, I work for you like a dog from Monday to Friday, right? 8 to 12 or 8 to 9 or whatever. Then when it comes to weekend, I work for my wife like a dog. Okay? For the Saturday and Sunday, I tell my boss, don't call me, okay? Because if you call me, I'll tell your wife that you are spoiling my life. And then let the wife do the husband, isn't it? That's easier. But seriously, guys, what I'm saying is this one. The reputation, okay, if you like, okay, the reputation of your research becomes very important. One, it's very difficult to get the first paper out. We all agree, isn't it? It's a real challenge, especially for those of us who are uninitiated. You write your first paper, you really don't know where to start and say, what the heck am I doing? Then you start to question, why am I doing this research, you know? When it's so simple, right? Right, for example, let me ask you a question. Very simple question, okay? Why should the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? Simple. Seriously, it's a research question, right? Right? Why should the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? Why? Anyone? Ever thought about that? Or you might think that I'm crazy enough. Ask that dumb question, right? You got better things to do with your life than think about this at night before you sleep. I do, by the way. But then I can't sleep, I wake up again and think about it. No. Then after my wife calls me and says, you going to sleep or you want me to sleep first? Then I tell her, okay, I'll sleep with you now. Seriously, my wife thinks I'm cuckoo, huh? Yes, hey, but back to my question. Why is the ringgit a rectangular piece of paper? Why? Oh, see, actually, no, not true, you know. The wallet was designed for the ringgit, not the other way around, right now. See, that's a very good point. Why? Because now, you see, you're looking at the process of research, process and outcome. Right? So your question, my friend, is that you said the wallet came first. Hence, you do a research to say, how do you make money to fit into the wallet, right? It's a design issue, right? From an engineer's perspective, it's a design issue. But I'm asking a question. Why must the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? Because if the ringgit were round, guess what happened to your wallet? Would you have a wallet? Of course, you say, hey, it's quite crazy. If it's round, it would be coin, right? Cannot be ringgit anymore. True or not? Right? It would be a coin. Then you don't have a wallet, you have a money or a coin pouch, right? Or a money pouch, isn't it? So, even here, okay, if you can think it's just to your government and your policy makers, why can't I have a square? Why can't I have this? Why can't I have this? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. We have one more, okay? Why not? It's so long as legal tender, it fits the bill, it should do the purpose, isn't it? It's fit for use. But why must the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? And then guess what? This, by the way, is a valid question, okay? Governments have asked this question and say, how big should this rectangular piece of paper be? How big should a ringgit paper be? How big? Anyone? How big as in should a $1 bill be smaller than a ever thought of that? Or should all of them be the same? Because the cost of printing each one of these is the same. Right? Well, you're awfully silent. I only gathered 3 things, okay? One is that either you think I'm crazy, or 4 things now, okay? Either you think I'm crazy, 2, you really are seriously thinking about my crazy question, or 3, you might ask, what the heck is he talking about? Right? He's really out of this world, he's from Mars and we're on Earth, right? It's always been like that. Right now, we've always been using currency this way. Or 4, you think, hey, maybe I can write a paper out of this. True or not? So they're all crazy papers, crazy research, that's what I'm saying. Right? But back to my question. So, how? Why must the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? Answer the first one. Then we go down to the second one and say, should they be of the same size? Then we can go on further to another question, right, related to the ringgit and the dollar, isn't it? Right? Now, what am I going through? I'm going through the whole process of research with you, in a sense, isn't it? Right? Getting you to think, getting you to question, getting you to conceptualize all this. Simple examples, but it's practicable, and that's what it is about research. It doesn't have to be so theoretical, so high level that you become totally confounded. You cannot even relate to the subject matter, which I'll come to in one of my points later. Anyway, back to my question. So, why should the ringgit be a rectangular piece of paper? Anybody? I tell you what, if you can answer my question, I give you a dog gift, okay? I got 1 bottle here, just going to drink. But I'll use it as an incentive to entice you to answer before I drink it. Yes? Hello? Anyone home? Anyone? Come on, don't be shy. By the way, no right or wrong answers, I told you my sessions, okay? Anyone? Yes. I thought the young lady was going to take my door prize, but she did not choose to. Okay, fine. I came here to go to give to her. Yes, sir. Okay, very good. Wait, let me put this back here. Okay, reserve this dog gift. I can't give to you because I just opened the cap. So quality assurance is not there already. Okay, so it's rectangular. Now you're right. Because from a product optimization, okay, that's what we call it in my space. Product optimization means what? In storage and warehousing, for example. Okay, this is the most compact form, right? So research tells you, right, it's easier to store things which are in a certain configuration compared to a circle, a rhombus, or a triangle. But you've not answered my question, actually. But you just said that, yes, having a regular form, 4 sides, is always easier to store. It's compact. But my question was, why must it be a rectangular piece of paper? Because you've answered this, you've answered this, you've answered this, but you have not answered this. Right? And the this is what? Why can't I store it? Why can't I cut the paper as a square and call it a $1 note also, isn't it? It's also a productive way of, most efficient way of storing it. Right? True? Yeah, it is. So that's what we're talking about. Understanding the process, you see. Now, having said that, some of you probably were not born. Right, that was in the Japanese occupation in Malaysia. Guess what? They also have the dollar, isn't it? Right? But their dollar is a very small one, isn't it? Right? I used to collect, I don't know where, maybe the rats ate it or something. Right? They're very small, right? And it's $1. So, now, back to the next question, which is related to these 2 guys. How big should a piece of paper be if it's rectangular? See what I'm doing through? I'm going through the thought process of doing the research with you. Right? Simple things like that where we don't think through. And I'll tell you the answer to this. The answer is very simple. The policymakers have said, okay, so that's because one country started the dollar, which in this case was the US. Everybody followed suit. Right? And it became rectangular for a simple reason. Now, but we have not addressed the question of size of the currency. Right? Because first question was, why rectangular? Second question was, this is A, if you like. Second question on B in the process was, should you have bigger papers to denote different levels of currency? isn't it? Now, let me ask you a question. Should a $100 note be bigger than a $1 note? Yes or no? Why? Yeah, easy. You know what? Okay, that's a very interesting one, right? Observation, anecdotal. You can collect data on this, okay? You can do your own survey also, right? There's a piece of empirical work down there. But you can collect your own data and do an anecdotal survey and say that, hey, is it really easy? And I'll tell you, most people will tell you this, right? Perception is what? Yeah. Bigger it is, the more important it is, right? So hence, we see a bigger piece of paper, you take note more than a smaller piece of paper. Hence, typically the $1 is smaller than the $100 bill. But you know what happens today? There are some countries, we won't mention name except the dollar note is green, right? There are some countries in this world that has got a policy to say that if I'm storing this in a more compact way, most uniform way, guess what? I do not want to disturb my warehousing. I do not want to disturb my size, dimensions, and utilization. So what do? They have a policy that the $1, the $50, the $10, and whatever, $100, they're all the same size. They're all the same color. You know which country I'm talking about? Yes? Who said what? Who said what? Oh, who said that? Come on, be brave. Raise your hands. Yeah, see? It's true, isn't it? Right? So, see what I'm saying? This is actually a practical problem. Now, earlier one of you mentioned, because it's rectangular, because you want to make sure that it's the easiest way, the most economical way to store and warehouse it. But, and we all know in warehousing, if you put in different products with different dimensions, then you can readjust your warehousing space, right? It's always easy to have the same dimension. So you don't have to think about the storage space anymore, just store it in. But of course, the other issue is what? You got to make sure that you can recognize, right? You do not want to give away what? A $50 bill thinking that it's a $5, right? That's true, right? That's true, okay, because I've done it before. Right? So later, don't ask me to give you money, okay? Now, so this is what it is. Now, but what has it got to do? Research. Research will say, okay, in trying to determine the difference between B and C, what do? There are many ways to cut this research, isn't it? One is to go and inspect all the 216 countries in the world today and say, what currencies do they actually use, right now? Right? And then compare the thing, measure that, hey, this is a piece of paper. Okay, so another piece of paper, this is a piece of research output, right? Because this has to do with the outcome that I wrote down there. It's a piece of research outcome. And the outcome will be important because you can tell the world, hey, actually, you're not economical. You're not efficient in what? In your storage and production of the currency. Second, notice, in trying to distinguish some of these here, the $1 and $100, what do? It's not just by size, but some countries have also done it by what else? Color, right? By color. And guess what? The US has got only one color, right? It's called the greenback. Whether it's $1 greenback, $10 greenback, it doesn't matter. It's still the greenback. Now, let me ask you a question. Why do they do that? Why? Why only one color? But different faces, okay? Different faces, different presidents, isn't it? Now, why? Whereas in your currency here, in Malaysia, it's what? Different color, different faces, different sizes. True that? So you have 3 levels of complexity. And we all know in a supply chain game, right? Having more of this create issues in variety and complexity, right? In terms of storage and control. Now, let me tell you, in the case of the US, they wanted the same colors because they found out that they want to appeal to people who are colorblind. Compare the US, for example. That's what we do, the process and the outcome, right? Compare the US and Australia, for example. Australia's colors are different, right? The currencies. And for those who are familiar with it. And guess what? Some people get confused by that. Why? Because they cannot tell the difference in the colors. There are a whole lot of challenge now. So what does that mean? It means that from a production perspective, okay, from a product optimization production perspective, using multi-colors is not as good as using one color. Right? Because of reason of cost. Very simple, that's all. Right? So you see, just a one simple currency perspective, you can actually streamline a lot of research around it. Now, but what am I saying here? back to this question, research. What is it really? If you look at this whole aspect of currency, then research would have been to be able to first search. Search for what? To search for the topic that you would like to do. Search for a topic that's interesting to tell the world, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody in this world would want to know why my wife says that I can only have 3 eggs a week. True enough, right? But if I tell you that, hey, let's do a piece of work on saying, why must the currency be of this form? And pose the following research questions and try and answer the 3 research questions here, A, B, and C. Right? Then people want to, there may be people in the world who want to read this, isn't it? Right? Maybe people in a journal such as banking and finance, right? There may be a possibility, right? So, what am I saying? I'm saying that you got to search for it, and then after you've done it, you got to then do your due diligence. By having to research it. Now, what does research mean in this case? To research and say that, hey, better make sure whatever you write is interesting enough for the world to see and tell the world. Otherwise, you end up doing a piece of work that what's what I call trivial question. Basically saying that, hey, you wasted 1 year, 2 years, 3 years of your life looking at something that's so mundane to the point where, fine, the most you get people who will read is not your wife, you'll be the 2 or 3 reviewers, yourself, the editor, so that's about 5 already. And if you're lucky, then your poor student will be unlucky, because then he'll be forced to read your paper and give some comments. And he has to try and make some intelligent sense of a non-intelligent question. Understand? That's what I call a trivial question. Okay, so be careful of this. Research can take many, many forms. And some are interesting, some has got very challenging processes, it means very difficult to do, and some, maybe the outcomes are not that clean, because it could be very messy. There's no outcome. In the case of coffee, in the case of eggs. We will still be debating, you know. The story of eggs and coffee, by the way, has been researched on for the last 30 years. And no one has come to a verdict. You know why? I suspect I've got a little conspiracy theory there. My first conspiracy theory is this. That for eggs, I think, okay, the egg farmers must have paid the researchers, right, to say the right things. True? The egg farmers must have paid the researchers to say the right thing. And by the way, this does happen in some countries. The second conspiracy theory is this. Sometimes the scientists and researchers couldn't find any conclusion, but because they spent 2, 3, 4, 5 years of their life sitting down in a lab, having no social life, right, and counting their opportunity cost, guess what they will do? They say, hey, my boss says, my system tells me, I must write a paper by this year. If I don't write by this year, what happens? I perish, right? Right? So what do? They start, what? Come on, you know the answer just as well as you. They start doing what? What? Don't worry, don't be shy. I'm a bit hard of hearing, as you can see, right? Manipulate, no lah, not so like that. We use a very, very long word, very hard to understand. They start doing some creative researching. Right? They start doing some creative researching and say, okay, this number is 0.01. Okay, it's there, but not conclusive enough, not strong enough, not statistically strong. So what do? They say, what if I make a mistake, add 1 more 0? So instead of saying 0.01, it becomes 0.001. After that, you say, heck, 1 0 more doesn't harm. Add 1 more 0. Why? Because who can ever see the difference between 0.001 and 0.0001? Very hard to see, right? And that's how, by this second conspiracy theory, you find that many research papers slip through the net, right? Because we are not strict about the research method that's used. True? We're not strict. We don't even validate every part of the process that is involved here. And I'll tell you why. Because reviewers are also today inundated with so many papers. Right? And as a reviewer, what gets my goat is this. Pardon the pun on the code. What gets my goat is this. I get a letter, an email from the editor or the editorial office. Say, can you help us to review this paper and see whether it's suitable for publication? So I said, fine. Then after they got this fine byline, fine print, they never tell you. They fine print. Can you get it done within 7 days? Oh, I look at the guy and say, wow, man, you don't pay me. I do service for you. You expect to be done in 7 days. But I also got to do my own research in 7 days and get it published right now. So what does that mean? I'm trying to tell the guy, In fact, I did write the email, okay? I'm trying to tell the guy, hey, look, the lead time for me to produce a paper, at least in its final draft, is definitely more than 7 days. But yet you want me to review something for you in 7 days so that the other guy can get his paper published. I said, this is not fair. Right? And of course, the editorial office has got no reply from me yet. But however, the practice still stands. It means you do one of those paper reviews, they'll tell you 7 days if possible reply, or if not 1 month. But this is crazy because there's no, right? Unless, what? A mass producer of papers, which does happen, okay? Okay, so, research. Now, any questions about this topic called research? Anyone? You think that I, or anything that you want to add or comment on, or anything they want me to clarify on research? But I just want to hold to one point, okay? You are in it here for research, not for the money, because if it's for the money, you should not be here. Second is that count your opportunity cost, because once you get in, don't complain. It's just like a loveless marriage, right? Don't complain, okay? Because you got to be happy already after that. Even when you're not happy, you still put on a smile. Yes. Come on. Any comments, reactions, responses? Hey, you must help me along, because it. Serious? Okay. Okay. That's a small suggestion. Okay. Tonight when you go back, don't say that I told you this to your wife. Okay. After the next time I come, I tell your wife will claw me. I will be finished, man. Okay. But have a thought about it. Huh? So the points that I wrote on the board, they're all there. I mean, maybe I didn't say so much in so many words, but you can find in any research methods book or whatever, or your PhD journey, right? They will all talk about it in one form or another, right? But I'm just telling you that, hey, it's not as simple as you think it is. But yet at the same time, don't be too envious. You find that there are cases where people actually can write papers at nothing, nobody's business, right? And you ask yourself a question, how is it they can think about it and I don't think about it? Or I've not thought about it, right? And this simple example like coffee, like even, the dollar bill or the currency. Very simple thing like this. And this is what piques the interest, And you do this, I'll tell you, there are journals, in fact, what's the irony, The good journals, right? They don't want you to write about so minute detailed things. They want you to write about big picture things. What are the good journals, okay? Where can I write this? See now this? Nature, Science, PLOS One. Okay? These are the good ones. Why? Because they're not even written like a journal. These journals are written like a newspaper report. Like, for example, in Nature, 6-7 pages as all. Then you say, what are we doing, man? Here we got one school of thought saying that the journal papers must be at least so many words. But yet there's another school of thought says that, hey, you can't go beyond 7 pages because why? Our journal must also consider the work of other people. It cannot be just your work and occupy the whole issue of that journal, isn't it? Right? So they say, if you can't limit yourself to 7 pages, you can't tell the world what you're doing in 7 pages, then you're not worth telling. And we don't want to put you up there to tell the world. Right? That's what it is. So you see, different schools of thought inside here. Okay. But just have a look at that. All right, now let me go on to the next one. The research journey. Tell me, what should the journey of research be like? What is your understanding of your research journey? What's your experience now? Share with me. Okay, don't worry about your professors here. Pretend that you've already told them before. They know your pains, right? You know, doing research, right? It's just like buying SAP. You know what's SAP, right? What is it? What is SAP? By the way, did you introduce SAP to them? Did they come in and give a talk? Oh, good. So we can say something about them, right? You know what's SAP, right? You buy SAP, then you say, this is the start of my suffering and pain. Yeah, because you have to change your mode of doing things, isn't it? And then once you buy, you're stuck with it because you can't change anymore. It's too expensive to change the process, isn't it? Right? So that's why suffering and pain. Huh? But don't tell them that, because then they give you the whole German spiel of what SAP means. And up to now, I still cannot pronounce it. Okay, so please, I need your inputs. How is your journey like for research now? Anything to share? Any pain point? Any issues? As you can see, I'm not very good at opening book. Okay, done. Okay. Yes, anyone? Don't worry about your professors here. I'm sure they are open-minded enough to take criticism with a pinch of salt, provided it is good and constructive. Like they say, you know, what happens in these four walls stays in these four walls. After we leave this room, everything is forgotten. Okay? Come on, anybody? Anyone? I tell you this, okay? While you said this, I like your comment, but I tell you, when you said this, the guys at the back, you know, their reaction was very interesting. See that? Can you hear that? The reaction is like, it's interesting, okay? But of course, interesting is a diplomatic word to use, true? Yeah. Okay, but seriously, anybody who wants to start off by telling me a little bit about your research journey so far? See, if you don't share that, I don't know what you don't know and how you've been through, isn't it? Right, then I can't tell you about my journey. Okay? So anyone, please, help me to help you. Yeah, please. You can share. Okay.
Interesting topic related to my field.
What is your field?
Medical field.
Wow, okay. You're a medical doctor. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a medical doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So why do you need to do another, okay, sorry. Curious now, see. So why do you need to do a PhD if you're a medical doctor? Okay, no, I'm serious. I asked this question. Okay. Okay. No, I totally appreciate your point, because let me just jump in here. I actually have a few students who are actually good medical, seriously, they're medical doctors. One is a pathologist, another one is a general practitioner, another one is a hospital administrator, right? They're all doctors, and I always ask them the same question. So why don't you study this higher degree in a non-medical area? They say, oh, because they say that. I thought it's an interesting journey. That's one who said that. Okay. Because I asked my student, right, so also he's very diplomatic and polite. He says, it's an interesting journey. He didn't want to tell me that he wanted to change career, you see. Because I was going to tell him, you know, if you want to change career, then this one definitely is very high on the agenda, isn't it? Right? Anyway, back to you. So, you want to do a PhD because? Okay. And the journey was so far so bad? Or is it so far so good? So interesting, huh? You're not a psychiatrist by any chance, right? Oh, I see. But are you a psychiatrist? So a psychiatrist is those who treat people with mental problems. Right? Because you know why, right? Once you get this thing, you know what it stands for, right? What does it stand for? Wrong. Seriously, okay? Because, you know, when you count the cost of all this, I tell you it's high, you know, very high. Cost of investment, opportunity cost, right? They're not necessarily the same, isn't it? But they can add up together to a much bigger packet. True? Right, so that's what it is. Okay. But thank you for that. Now, let me tell you, my own journey, okay, in terms of the PhD and research, I'll tell you this. First, the first paper is the hardest. Second, the first paper is the one that I worked the hardest also. Right? Because I know next to nothing. Right? That's where I depend on my supervisor. Right? Third, after I did the whole piece of work, I still know nothing. Right? And I don't know why I did it. Because you know why? The system tells you that, oh, before you can graduate, before you can appear before the examination committee, what must you have? Yeah, that's what they tell you. So we all just go and do, you know. You're thinking. And then the worst part is that because you're in a hurry to do, guess what? Whatever your boss says, you just do. Right? You know, that's the good soldier. Don't question why, but just do and die. Okay? Second is that after you're finished, then you think, you want to do some more? No. Why? Tell me. The journey, seriously, all of us will come to that point where you question yourself somewhere, whether it's 3 years, 5 years or whatever. I got a friend, he did his PhD in MIT. Guess how long he took his PhD? How long? How many who said that? Huh? No, 7. 7, yeah. So it's twice the length of his undergraduate, you know. So I didn't see him for a long 7 years. So I said, what happened to you? He says, I was doing my PhD. Right? So you know what, in 7 years, what was he doing? Poor guy, he was doing engineering-based PhD, okay? So sitting in the lab, every day watching videos. He's doing machine visioning, you see. So watching videos and say how to capture, how to create video data and all that stuff. So they just do. 7 years of his life, you know. So what? You know, I'll tell you this, okay? His journey was lonely. Why? Because he epitomizes the typical PhD student. He talks to only one thing. Guess what? Who he talks to? Or what he talks to, sorry, what? The who we know. He talks to his supervisor once a week. Okay? The what he talks to is what? He talks to a computer. Yeah, the machines, that's all. His lab, you know. And then the worst part is that even though there are people, fellow PhDs in the lab with him, guess what? They don't talk to each other. They don't socialize because they say, this guy could be a potential competitor to my ideas and my topics. And this is true, right? I'll give you an example. About 24 months ago or so, remember, or last year or so, early last year, remember the case of this guy, or this lady, young lady? What did she do in Stanford as a PhD student? You know, to make sure that she's the only one in the race to get a paper published because they're working in roughly the same area, she went to put poison. Yeah, to go and feed to her other fellow PhD, right? It came on the news, isn't it? Right, very sad, but that's a fact of life. Right, so the journey is a scary journey, you know, that you can go cuckoo, you know, before you even get this title. Literally, you know, because you got mental problem. Right, and there are others, you know, that I've seen physically. Right, in some places, they take a rifle, go to the office and shoot their supervisor. Because they say what? Or they threaten, they say what? How come you never let me pass? Simple question like that, no? And the supervisor said, but you know you cannot pass. But you think the guy knows? No, because his journey was a journey of one. True? As in one person. And because the journey of one, it becomes a lonely individual journey. Literally no one to talk to. Even if you have someone to talk to, I'll tell you this. His girlfriend or boyfriend, or her girlfriend or boyfriend would have left long time ago. True. Imagine, you got a girlfriend, no? Every day you can see a girlfriend, what do you talk about? Wow, man, I tell you, you talk about, hey, today I found the R squared, or the p-value to be 0.01. But, you know, my supervisor tells me, 0.01 not good enough. You must now get more data, make it 0.001. And the girlfriend say, okay, this is lunch, but he's talking about p-value. Right? Then she might use other p words on him. All right? And then 0.01, 0.001. They all look at him and say, are you okay or you just pure zeros? Right? That's what it is, right? Lonely, you know? Because Unless and until you work in a PhD lab, no one knows your work. You're just talking to yourself, and your only emotional, spiritual, intellectual, or I don't know what crutch is your supervisor. And you find a supervisor has no time for you, wow, totally finished, right? Because the relationship that you have built with him or her over the last 3 to 4 years suddenly just crashed in front of you, right? So that's what we do, right? So as a PhD student, we just do what our soup tells us, and then just say, hopefully, the journey will be over, right? First, I tell you this, okay, the journey is very simple. It's like a marriage, you know. Love affair begins, right? Dating, right? Not, right? Very easy. The first 6 months, happy, honeymoon period. After that, reality sets in. Okay, when is this going to end now? Journey becomes very quiet. Look around, nobody next to you, nobody behind you, nobody in front of you. You say, hey, am I going in the right direction? True? Any of you asked that question before? Am I going in the right direction? And when you start asking that question, I'll tell you this. It's good news for you. You know why? When you ask that question, I'll tell you, you're not at your midway point. The halfway point of your journey. Because if you don't ask that question, it means you have not arrived at that point. Right? And once you've gone beyond asking that question, then I got better news for you. You know what is it? The end is in sight. Right? But the end is in sight doesn't mean good, by the way. In the PhD journey, the last thing you ever want is what? To know that the end is in sight because you have made it so, or because the system has made it so for you, could only mean two things. One is that you're really finishing and going to graduate. The other part about the end is in sight is what? Somebody wants to terminate you because they will tell you your progress is not good enough, right? So that's why in some schools, especially in Australia, where I had a chair there a number of times, they'll tell you this, okay? In the Australian system, they will have a system such that halfway through, they need you to have a mid-candidature review. Right? And that's where then they will estimate, they will determine your progress and say, can he or she make it? So we will try and help the person to buck up, so to speak. Because if you really can't make it, then as a supervisor, I will have to make sure that you actually must exit the system in the most painless way possible. Now, of course, why is that so? Because as a supervisor, now I'm taking the role not as a student, but as a supervisor. I have a vested interest. You know what's the vested interest? It's a selfish interest, mind you. My vested interest is what? What do you think my vested interest would be? Anyone? You're now the student, but now I'm telling you, look at it from the supervisor's perspective, which in this case is my perspective. What do you think would be my vested interest in this journey along with you? What do you think would be? Publication is one, yes, what else? What else? Sorry? What? Patterns, yeah, but this is the secondary outcome. But what is the core, the two core interests? One is publication, right? If I'm a research PhD supervisor. What's the other one? Yes? Correct, Lord. Then I will scold you and say, wow, you took up so much of my time. I had opportunity cost in spending with you, and yet you still can't graduate. Then I'll be cursing and swearing at myself and say, what did I do? Right now, invested in who said mentoring just now? Yeah, in mentoring you, and yet you still cannot progress. So, as a supervisor, and I'll tell you this, okay, in most systems, especially in the US, in the Ivy League schools, they have a big vested interest. Two. One, what you all said, publications, right? If you as a student cannot help the supervisor to publish, I'll tell you, the US professors will not look at you too favorably in the Ivy League, right? Because they also, when they embark on their journey, just as you as a student, right? The problem with them with it is that while you finish a journey, when they embark on a journey, if they're choosing, if you're choosing an academic career, you'll be on that journey for the next 30 to 40 years, right? The longest surviving academic that I know, he's also from MIT, by the way, but not in management, he's in civil engineering. Name is John Newman. He's already in his early 80s. He still holds an office in MIT. And by the way, he still publishes. Scary, yeah? So I tell you honestly, okay, I will stop publishing by a certain time because I'll say, I'm out of this game, right? I won't call it a journey, okay? Please, And I'm making no apologies for it. I say I'm getting out of this game, not a journey. right? And those who understand it will know why I use the word game instead of journey. Now, but back to the supervisor. So the supervisor, that journey will say, hey, I want to take students only who can help me meet my course and not, what? Tarnish my reputation. Where's the word? Right now. The reputation must have a little smiley inside there for a very important reason. The smiley is that I'll tell the world, I'll tell my competitors, I'll tell my bosses in the university system, I'll tell my potential employers in other universities, say, I have done so many PhD students and all of them graduated, not just graduated, right? They have also published papers, good journals, and not only just that, but what? They graduated in double quick time. True? Right? If possible, if the tenure is 4 years, I tell them, my student published it and graduated in less than 3.5 years. Wow. Guess what? The journey of the student, right, now is used to serve the purpose of the supervisor's journey. True? So you see, conspiracy theory again. Okay, and I will apologize first to those if I'm going to offend you in this room here. But sometimes, we forget whose journey is more important, right? Is it the journey of the student or is it the journey of the supervisor? In as much as we would like to think that it's a symbiotic relationship, but I'll tell you this, the relationship is not balanced, it is not always even, right? The relationship can tilt in many ways, right? So you got to be careful. But I'll also tell you this, if you find the right supervisor, then your journey will be one which is not just only productive, and hopefully, okay, it's productive, but harmonious, true that, right? For those of you who are students who have gone through a very tense time with your supervisor, you know what I'm saying, right? Sometimes your relationship with your supervisor can be quite, adversarial, right? So it must be harmonious and engaging. Because, why? You are not just getting a person to talk to who understands your problems, because he's the only one who understands your PhD problem or your research problem. Your wife, your husband will not understand, right? Why you spend time here, right? They look at it and say, oh, what's happening, right? But engaging because you're going to engage in deep intellectual discussion, right? And that's where the value comes from it. And after that's done, please make sure that in the journey, you continue to build a collaborative relationship with your supervisor, because you can still continue to publish. And you know what's good news? Every supervisor will tell you this. If you get a good student, then you don't just get a good student. You get many good grandchildren. You know what I mean, grandchildren? Because if your student is also going to be an academic, then you can bet your last dollar. His student or her students will work with you too, right? And that's why we talk about grandchildren, right? And so in some disciplines of mathematics, they've actually tried to build the genealogy of academics in the journey, right? So that's the journey. Now, the next question, in terms of journey, and that is that, how long should the process last? How long should the journey last for a PhD? What do you think? How long should the journey last? Don't care about the system. The system will tell you this X number of years, right? But how long should the journey last? Sorry? 2 years. Okay. I'll tell you my experience. For my journey, it was very simple. For 6 months, I floundered looking at a topic. Couldn't get anything. Worked very hard, 6 months, never go home. And of course, I told you, right, my 6 months, my social life was not just zero. My social life was negative. People thought I died, literally, right? Because I saw no one. For 6 months, I stayed in the lab talking to a computer. In those days, it's not a colorful Microsoft screen. It's the worst screen ever, It's a green monochrome screen that has got white words coming out. Wow, I tell you, it was really challenging. 6 months, And then people think, wow, this guy, whether he went home, we don't know. but he did not shave, right? Because that one you can tell it's a physical appearance that will show, isn't it? Right? And whether he's been sleeping, we know because he's not been sleeping, he's got panda eyes, right? All those things you can tell. And then they also can tell that I've not been eating well. Why? Because what? The telltale signs of food wrapping, McDonald's wrappers and everything, what have you, KFC, all by the side, all over. But I'm still on the chair. And then the worst part is what? If I see someone coming close to me or sitting on my chair, guess what I will do? I go berserk right now. Because why? I've established a territory around me, the little space of 1 meter square. That is a no-fly zone. Literally, no one can get in, right? Because I'm still looking at my research, focusing on it. For 6 months, no results, you know. Wow, testing time, trying time. After that, I decided to change topic because I said, this is getting me nowhere, right? And I'm not going to just write one paper after 3 years and then say, oh, no, pardon my expression, and then say the 4-letter S word, right? I say, what the heck is happening? So I changed. Then after that, guess what? Lo and behold, you know what? Within the next 6 months, one paper came through. And you know what happens in my journey? The one paper came through. Even though it's not the best of journals, because my supervisor asked me, so where do you want to publish this piece of work? I thought he was joking at first, you know. And then, you know what I said? Difficult answer is any good student would have done. I said, depends on you, Prof. I told him. Right, because I told him point blank, I'm happy that I managed to get some results. That's the first thing, right? Because I suffered during the process, but now I saw an outcome. Then he said, okay, let's write it up. And he asked me, where are you going to publish? I said, I got really no idea where's the best journal. And I told him honestly, I said, right, I'm happy I got up to this stage. If I can get it published, I don't care, anymore. Because why? I got results. To me, it's finished, right? But you know why he asked that question? You know why my supervisor asked that question? It's because of the thing that I told you earlier on. His reputation is at stake right now. And he also wants to score some points on his own reputation and say, I got a good student, I got a good paper. True? So a good student is necessary, but the good paper is the sufficient condition to show his credibility. Understand? Yeah. So that's what it is. So we just say publish, and then straight once I publish it, that's it. I know my PhD was done. The system will not give me any problems, right now. So, and also that, not only that, I don't have to attend any mid-canonical review anymore. Right? Because I cleared it by default. I got a paper. Wow, I tell you. So, in this process, who is happier? Let me ask you. In this journey, who was happier? Yeah, not me, because why? I tell you, after a while, once you're into it so much, okay, you lose sense of perspective. You just want to get it over. But I tell you, the supervisor was the chess master. He is the one who was very happy because my soup engineered everything, right? He literally engineered everything, even though I was struggling with the modeling. I had to call him, right? And as supervisors in Australia, you have a privilege, you have 1 day in a week where you can actually don't have to work in the office. You can work from home. And guess what they call it? Well, you know what they call it? Working from home. They have a nice euphemism or term for it. They call it your research day. Basically, they say, I'm not going to come in, right? I don't get paid a lot, so my weekends are off, but I can selectively choose 1 day in a week to decide which day is off for my research, so nobody can disturb me. So I had to call him, and guess what? When I called him, during my journey, right, when I was desperate, you know what he was doing? You think he was doing research? Answer is no. He was in his garden, tending to his plants. Then I said, I didn't want to tell him, but in my heart of hearts, I said, wow, how I envy him, man. This guy is just so relaxed, and here I'm suffering. But when I call him, he seems to have all the answers to my needs and my worries and my concerns. He was very calm about it. He said, okay, do this, let's see what happens. And true enough, I did it, bang. My results came out within 2 months, paper done, finished, accepted. Within a year, yeah, finished, cleared with PhD. That's all. Right? So, the journey becomes very important. Right? If the stars, okay, if you believe in that, if the stars are aligned, wow, you got it made. But if the stars are not aligned, then my other friend, the MIT guy who did machine vision, right? 7 years now to clear his PhD. And you know what's the irony? This is a digression, huh? The irony is that when he finished, he came back to Singapore to work. I saw him after 6 months, and then 1 year later, he died. Seriously died. Why? Because this guy is very smart. He's got a philosophy. I asked him a very dumb question once. I said, look, I asked him, where's the best place to sit in the plane? You know what? It's a research question, by the way. Yeah? Okay, it's a research question. Where is the best seat in the plane to sit? Tell me. Which seat is the best? Do you know? No, the back is the best, correct. But his philosophy is a bit different, okay? His philosophy is that sit just next to the wings. Then you wonder why. Then he told me the answer. He said, you know that the fuel of the plane, they're all stored along the wings of the plane. So if there's an explosion, you'll be the first one to go. There'll be no pain and suffering for you. Hey, but I tell you, this guy, I take my hands off to him. I salute him and respect him because he actually practices what he preaches. Guess what he did in the SQ006 situation in Taipei years ago? His plane crashed. That was the first SQ incident. It crashed and boom! And guess what? Row 31A, 31B, 31C, all three died at the same time. And you know who they are? Mother, wife, and him. Wow. I mean, they couldn't identify anybody in the whole row, you know. And only him they could identify. And then they found out there was the whole family because of his, what? The teeth, the dental record. Right? So, another research question, okay? What's the best way and the fastest way to identify the date? Wow, serious, you're silent. Where's the medical doctor? What's the best way? Is it by dental record? It's all burnt in an explosion, right? So they identified my friend through his dental record, you know, literally. Then they found it was him, and then they verified. Then after they can bring the bodies home to a burial. Right? But it's a research question, right? Is there a faster way to identify a dead person, right, when it's completely burned? Morbid, but researchable. Okay. So journey. Now, any questions first? Are we still good on time? Who's the timekeeper? Oh, so fast. Okay, fine. Okay, so now, pitfalls and challenges. The first pitfall is that don't go to do a PhD thinking that you can change the world. Seriously, okay? Because I'll tell you this. In fact, I can tell you by asking a question. Today, how many PhDs graduate globally each year? How many? Give me a number, don't give me thousands, okay? Just give me a number and I'll give you a hint, okay? The number is as good as your big sweep number, as in the number of digits down there. 1 million. At least, yep. Globally, yeah? All the universities. Yep. Raising. Of course, when I say the PhD, it means it can be a PhD or a DBA, Doctor of Business Administration, because Harvard doesn't have a PhD, they got a DBA. So 1 million. Now, how do I know that? Very simple. This is 2018. So 2015, I sat on the university committee in Australia to appoint and select 20 postdocs for the university's new drive to become a research-intensive university. So I was part of the selection committee. And I'll tell you this, my brief was very simple. To select only 3 people, maximum, for the discipline of supply chain and logistics. And I had to look through 978 CVs. Because we did a global search. That was a mistake I felt. Yeah, because it consumed 2 weeks of my life. Literally, 2 weeks of my life, right? Because you spend so much energy writing your CV, your position statement, and why you should get a job. Obviously, I must do justice to your submission, right? And read it. But of course, our way of doing things is a bit different. I have admin support to vet the thing first. But even after vetting, I'm still stuck with 978 applicants. I read the first 10. I said, hey, this is not going to stop, you know, because it's just past closing date. It is already 10. And I asked my admin person, I said, how many do you have in store for me? He said, another 960 over. My jaw dropped. I said, if this is going to go on, first, I'll miss my deadline. Second, I'll miss my time to write papers. Third, I'll be utterly miserable because I'm going to play God, which I don't want to play God. Right? So I created a system and said, how do I select? How do I select candidates so that I can weed, them out as quickly as possible? First answer is very simple. I look at the papers you have done, right? How many papers? I look at the quality of papers. I look at the papers you have in your pipeline, and I look at what are your goals and aspirations. Some people, after finishing a PhD, guess what they want to do? They just want a job, right? They never think anything else because they need a job. Either to pay off the money they've invested in, or what? To tell their friends that they got a job. Right? So 4 things. By doing all that 4 straight away, I weeded out a lot of shaft, right? Then I had about 55 to read. And that's why I spent 2 weeks seriously reading their CV. And not only that, not just read their CV, but I read every one of the papers they have written. Literally read everything and find out what exactly they are doing, right? So, if you think that the journey was tough in the PhD, then the next one I'm telling you, in terms of the pitfalls and challenges, getting your next job is even tougher. Because in as much as it's tough for you to be accepted as a candidate in any university to do a PhD program, it's also going to be tougher for you to be accepted to be a faculty, right, in any university, as in an academic faculty. In the case of management, we could go the way of the physical and natural sciences. What is it? In the physical and natural sciences, when you finish a PhD, today it is expected they don't jump straight into an academic position straight away. They have to serve time. What does serve time mean? It means that they have to become postdoctorals for 3 years minimum. Of course, you might ask, why? Right? The answer is very simple. They feel they do not have enough papers, so they will use the 3 years to write like hell. Right? Good papers, many papers, show the strong pipeline. Those are the criteria, the 3 criteria I was looking for, the first 3. Right? So they can show to the potential employers that they are worth considering. But you know what? The sad truth is that because they spent 3 years doing research, guess what? Some universities, for one reason or another, put in a little caveat to protect their own. And what is the caveat? The caveat is as follows. If you want to be an academic staff, research alone is not good enough. It is sufficient, no, it is necessary, but not sufficient. What is the sufficiency condition? The sufficiency condition, they say, is that, have you got any teaching experience? True? Wow, so I tell you, it's a very strange thing because one of the postdocs told us that in the interview, you know, will I get a shot to do some teaching? Then we all wonder, hey, you're coming in to do a research postdoc. Why do you want to do teaching? Then he explained to us in the interview and said, oh, actually, I want to go to a teaching position. Right? This university, I actually applied. He said, I applied, but this university told me, I must have teaching experience. So he asked us, you know, specifically in the interview. So we had to then quickly think about it and then adjust our rules so that we allow these people to just not just do research, but also give them 15% of their time to teach a course during the whole year. So that will show them or show the world that they've got some teaching experience before they can qualify. Right? So that's how this whole thing works up. So what am I saying? In terms of pitfalls and challenges here, your journey, if you clear the PhD process, will not end there. There will be much, much more. Okay? So be careful of that. All right, I got the last one. Now, can I have the papers up there? Okay, so. Oh, by the way, in terms of pitfalls and challenges, I will tell you this only, okay? That your challenges, the longer you stay in the system as a PhD student, your challenges to enter the academic world will only grow. Right? It's not going to be simplified, it's not going to be reduced. Even though countries are building more universities. And you know the reason behind it? The short answer is very simple. Because the existing faculty will not want to give up their positions. They will stay for as long as possible, especially in the American system. Right? Once you get tenure, you're not just tenure, but you're tenure for life. Right? And for life means you can work for as long as you want. I got a friend, he's Australian. He's an academic, right, in Australia. He's lucky. He doesn't have a PhD. He only got a master's in information systems. And today he's 79 years old and still working. Right? But he walks very slowly. Right? He walks about, I don't know, 0.3 meters per second. Okay, work it out. Okay, fine. Let me now go through this. I'm going to now take the next 5-10 minutes to show you 2 pieces of work that I've just looked at recently. then you see whether it makes sense to you, whether you still want to be part of that game. Okay, we are waiting for technology to boot up. And the timekeeper, please let me know, all right, whether I've exceeded the time. But like I said before, I do wish you ask me questions, you know. Then that would maybe help me to keep me awake rather than to fall asleep. You know, it's not tough. For me, it's tough to have a horizontal meditation. But it's easy to have that vertical meditation, which means I can sleep while standing. Okay, are we there? Yes, the color is almost there. Good, good, good. Okay. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes to dissect 3 papers very quickly. I don't have enough time, but let's see how it goes. Okay, good. Now, this is the title of the paper. I think you have already, isn't it? You have a copy? Yeah, okay. Now, tell me, what do you observe in this first paper? What can you observe? Do you want to read a paper like this? Have you read it already? If you have not, it's okay, don't read. I'll tell you this, because every paper should only be read by a few people only. The author, the editor, the reviewers. So altogether 5. Don't ask your wife to read, because if you ask her to read, she'll divorce you for sure. Okay, at least for this paper. Huh? Okay, come, anybody? Hey, by the way, I chose something close to home for you, as you can see. This is the nearest I could get to, you know. There's no paper on PJ, but there's a paper on KL. Come on. Do you know what's happening? That's an honest person. No idea what's happening right now, huh? Wait. How many moons ago? 30 years ago, right? Okay, good point. I'll KIV that 30 years ago point. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's the title only, huh? Okay, we're not reading the text, right? Okay, fine. Okay, now, thank you for all those 2 comments. I think they're very good because it helps me to bring it together. First one is research, right? Even though we have studied this main area, yours is electrical engineering, right? Yeah, even you studied this main area 30 years ago, I'll tell you this bad news. Research is always fast evolving. It's changing, right? And that's where it goes back to my earlier point. Why I put on pitfalls and challenges, the P's and C's? Because you must not have the mindset that what you've done, what you've learned today will be relevant 40 years down the road. You have to change, right? I'll give an example. My own journey. When I did my first piece of empirical research, it was actually on simple exploratory factor analysis, right? And guess what? I did the first piece, and I won a run-up paper, you know, for the second best paper in the whole year for that journal. But today, any PhD student who comes to me and say that, hey, Prof, can we publish a paper on exploratory factor analysis? Guess what's going to happen? You'll say, what are you talking about? I'm teaching my undergrads now, that one. Or worse, in 10 years' time, they'll ask you, what are you talking about? Now, the students in university and pre-university are already learning that. Get my point? Right? Because research has to push the frontier, has to always progress. So what we have learned 20, 30 years ago, unfortunately cannot apply. Because if it does apply, then you're not really doing research because you're regurgitating. Right? What you want to do is be at the cutting edge. So that's the first thing. Second is that I wanted to show you this paper for a simple reason. How do you get people to read your papers? That's what I'm saying, right? For you, you have to read the title and guess, right? Because that's what it's trying to tell you. So, learning point. In the title, you must make sure that you be as clear as possible so that the reader, when he looks at it, before having to read your text, he can roughly guess. Now, what does roughly guess mean? Is it 5%, 10%, or 95%? 95% probably not. You don't want to put your trade secrets in the title of the paper, right? But he should be able to guess 50% what you're trying to do. Great. You should be able to guess 50% of the time what you're trying to do. And if you look at this research here, what year is this? I forgot already. I think it was a very, here. See, received 2016. So barely a year and a half ago, right? So what does that mean? The world of research is actually very competitive in terms of challenges. While you can think of a topic like this currency issue, I'll tell you this, there will be at least another 1 million folks outside there somewhere in the system thinking about the same thing, right? So what do we call them? We call them the research vouchers. Seriously, when you present your piece in some of these conferences overseas, there are people who are very keen to listen to you. Actually, they're not listening to you. Guess what they're listening? Listening to your ideas, waiting to take it, park it somewhere, write it as fast as possible, and publish it. But of course, here we sit very dangerously on the side of, on the box of ethics, right? Whether it's ethical to do it or not, I don't know, right? The British system is that if I tell you an idea, right, then you should respect that this idea came from me. Even though if you write the paper, either you can choose to work with me or you acknowledge that this idea came from me. But in some younger scholars today, right, they listen to an idea and then they claim credit for the idea. What does claim credit mean? Now, you look at this. Next line. What's the surname of this author? What's the guy's surname? Tell me. Is it really Kaboli or is it Akhe Kaboli? Okay. I give the guy the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's say it's Akhe Kaboli. So, what is the house rule? Again, in a very traditional mindset, old school. What's the house rule? If the paper is jointly and severally contributed, what should it be? It should be, et al. Or alphabetical, right? Yeah. But you look at this. The first letter of the English alphabet is, unfortunately, A. So maybe that's why his A came out instead of Kaboli. The second letter is a B. Now, following that, I think F is how many? A, B, C, D, E, F. 6, right? 6. After F, does R come before S or S comes before R? What happened here? What happened here? Okay. Hey, by the way, wait, before I forgot, very important one I forgot to ask. Do you know anybody here? You know why I asked that question, right? Because they're not very far away, isn't it? Yeah? They're not very far away. Seriously, they're still alive. Okay? So, here, what do you think happened? Who is the real worker? Who's the, what should I put, the free rider? Sorry, not the one, very crude, but no choice. Who's the real worker and who's the free rider? Or who's the supervisor? I'm not saying supervisors are free riders, by the way. Not necessarily the same, okay? No. 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 Who is the real worker here? The real worker, okay, I tell you, this one here was a PhD student, UTM. This one here, not sure. I also don't know. I would like to think that he's also a PhD student. And why do I say that? Again, this goes back to my journey. If you have supervisors who are nice, what would they do? Even though their surname comes first, in alphabetical order, if they are nice, then what they will do is they put your name first, right? If you're the student. Why do you think they would do that? Because it's just common practice. You, as you begin your journey, your supervisor is the master craftsman, but you are the apprentice, right? So the master craftsman has an obligation to look after the apprentice, right? So that's how the master craftsman will push the apprentice to be recognized within his own domain and area, assuming that when you do a PhD with him or her, right, you will continue the journey in the broad area of research, right? So he will look after you. Looking after you means what? In academic circles means that you will try and push the student's name first. Now, some senior authors, myself included, if you are nice, they say, okay, your paper needs to get published, so what do? We lend some weight to it, right? Have you clean up the stuff? We'll put it in, but we don't want to, insist on alphabetical order because it doesn't matter to me, right? I've written enough, so to speak, right? I don't care, right? If you can help somebody, go ahead. But must be careful. Today, there are journals, for example, like Intelligent Manufacturing International Journal of Production Research. They've got a new rule that just came out last year. They found a very, very bad practice. And what is the bad practice? The practice is that there are many authors who go in there, put their names just to be a free rider. So now they say, is this name the same name as it appeared when the paper was first submitted? Or is it a new edition? If it's a new edition, the editor's policy is very simple. Paper is to be rejected because you forgot to include the authors in the first place. So they question the ethics of it. That's the first thing. The second thing, some of these journals here, what do? They will ask you to fill up a new form. The form says what? You have to state categorically the contribution of each of these authors. And unfortunately, in the boxes that you check, there's no mention made that I put my name there because it's easy to do. Understand? So you cannot do that anymore. So the authors, the editors are not dumb. They're trying to close that loop and control the malpractice, if you like. Okay? 1, 2, oh no, sorry, 3. Look at this. I want to show you this because this is where the challenge is, you see. They receive it, but in revised form, this. So it's about a good 7 months or so. Then after that, review 1 month later. Well, 3 things you can learn from here. The first one is that the challenge is that don't expect your paper to be accepted the first time around. Usually there'll be a number of revisions. That's the good news. Seriously good news. In some good journals, you can do 4 revisions, and guess what? The bad news, the worst case can ever happen to you, touch wood, that can ever happen is what you submit after the 4th time. Wow, the bad news comes and say, the editor is very nice and say, I'm sorry to tell you, we have gone through, we've given you serious thought to your paper, but we still think that it does not merit sufficient, whatever. So, rejected. And that's where you get totally depressed. Now, here, next point. 7 months. Is that a ready time to submit a revision? Is it a ready time? Now, that's a very risky proposition because this is a very hot area. Long-term electrical energy consumption, formulating and forecasting, because people want to know that, countries want to know. So many people are doing this research, but 7 months to do a research, guess what? In the 7 months, there can be another 1,000 different papers. So in doing your revision, the longer you take means that you have to recognize the other work that is also in the pipeline, right? So there's a no ending story to your literature review. Okay? 4th, this is the worst. What do you think happened between 2nd of February, was that 2017 and 2nd of March 2017? What happened? Who is the donkey now? 2nd February 2017 and 2nd March 2017. Who is the donkey? The donkey, my friend, is the poor reviewer or reviewers. Because then they have only 1 month to turn around your paper, Right? Because once you can accept in revised form to the reviewer gives a good report, guess what will happen? In that 4 days, the editor's job is made easy. Right? He will just look at the reviewer's report, go to the reviewer he trusts the most and say accept or reject or revise. Then in this case, accept 6th of March. You think the editor did a lot of work? No. The editor just relied very much on the reviewer. You think the reviewer did a lot of work? Probably yes, right? Because he's got an obligation to do a good job. But is it fair for the reviewer to only spend 1 month to look at someone who spent 7 months of his life to work on the changes? Right? That's the question that we're talking about. So you see, the time divergence or the time convergence of getting a paper to print from the idea and so on and so forth to the final piece of work, it's getting shorter and shorter. What does that mean? The challenge for researchers today is that you got to not just publish or perish, but you got to publish faster or perish faster than you like. Okay? That's what it is. Huh? Okay, so that's enough for this one. You can have a look at the paper, is there. Now let's go to the next one. Also on the energy domain. Okay, now you look at this. Title only, don't care about the rest, okay? Okay, that's good, now stop. Now, comments on this in relation to the first piece that you saw. Any response? What? Why? As what? The first one, right? Okay, yes? Yeah. Okay, fine. So now, tell me, you think this is a paper by the same author, or you think it's a paper by a different author, or you think this is worth publishing? As in, is this a trivial question they're trying to address, or is it something that's going to be earth-shattering and can help industry because it's got the term called electrical energy consumption again? Three questions I pose to you. Any responses to that? Yes? Anyone? Yeah, correct. Just looking at demand side, right? But it's just cutting the problem into different parts, isn't it? So it's like this one here that I talked to you about, the A, B, and C. So, now, good point. Some people have a practice, and what is that? They say, I collect data, 1,000 data points. I can cut the database into several parts. And this, by the way, is not new. The medical doctors have been doing that for many, many years. They collect one huge database, for example, in the US, right? They got SPSS General Survey, right? They put everything inside, they cut every year, they produce different papers out of it, right? Many papers, right? And they cite different things. So they look at different parts of it. But now, let me ask you, when you look at this as a reviewer for this paper, what is your first impression? That's very important, isn't it? Because that's where you learn about the research process. As a student, you only do what your supervisor tells you. But once you reach a stage of not being a student and moving on to your career, you have to understand and say that, hey, you'll always be meeting this request to review. That's the first thing. Second thing is, how do you tell whether this paper warrants publication? It's a judgment call, right? That's where you have to, unfortunately, play God, right? Now, third, countdown to goodness. Wow. No, that's not my third. No. That was not scripted, by the way. Okay. Now, here, you find that now the techniques have changed, but the main area is still the same, long-term electrical energy consumption. Now, I purposely took out the author because there's the issue of ethics here. Now, I'll tell you this. In here, there's only one author. One author's name. In the earlier paper, there were how many? 4, right? So all got taken out. So now, what happened? Tell me. I don't know lah. Or it could be that this guy maybe learned enough of the technique, decided not to rely on his friends or his co-authors. Remember I told you about the issue of ethics, right? My policy is very simple. When I start something in someone, in a research area, we'll see it through, even though he might not have worked on it in the second paper, a lot of it, but I'll still feel indebted to him for discussing the ideas in the first paper, right? And then put his name into the second one, right? And so on and so forth. Because it's seen as something that we have so-called co-birth together to produce a baby, right? Now, here, unfortunately, as you can see, there's only one author, right? And I won't tell you, to protect this person, I won't tell you which of the one authors, all right? Definitely not the supervisor, okay? Because if he does it this way, then I tell you, the whole community will be on his back. By saying, why do you do it that way? Okay. Second is that, which is a more interesting paper? This one or the first one? Now, what are we doing? What am I asking? I'm asking a very important question. In today's game of research productivity, research impact, this thing called citation count becomes extremely important. So now, the question is, when you write a paper, usually it is the first paper that gets the most impact and get the most cited, the best cited paper, right? The rest is not so important. It's just like, you know, remember this guy, the management guru who died in 1993, December, Peter Drucker, right? His paper, his book on management, actually is one of the best cited books compared to any of the academic journals. Why? Because he was the first to write a decent book on management. And so every scholar would have cited his work, right? Like it or not, right? Whereas in this case here, you do this long-term electrical energy consumption. Bang, stop here. Hey, this is it's exactly the same as the first paper. So what does that mean? It means that few people want to read this one. They want to read a seminal piece and just a add-on piece. Okay? So bear in mind. Huh? Okay, now let's go to the next one. The third paper, very quickly. Just 3 minutes. I'm going to change tag in case you don't like this. Okay, let's stop here. Now, look at this. When you look at this title, what is your impression? Does it make sense? Sorry? Yeah, English is poor, correct. Right? Because you look at this and say, if I were not to pick out the English and look at the keywords, I'll say, okay, this is a topic on knowledge management, it's a topic on strategic management process, it's a topic on Indonesian SMEs. But what's the guy trying to do? Right? And you think about it. My impression when I look at this, my first impression was that, was it a translation from Bahasa Indonesia? Right? Yeah, was it a direct translation through Google Translate? Right, that they took in, boom, and they came out and I said, wow, what am I supposed to do? Okay, then you look at this. Okay, let's go down to the abstract, don't mind? Okay, let's stop there. Now you look at this. So this guy obviously is trying to do some research, but, okay, there are challenges. For example, there's a little thing called a construct here called competitive intelligence, which he threw it in, but never explained that. But you put in the abstract, hey, you're going to get hell from the reviewers. Right? Because the reviewers will never say, never like this idea of throwing in the construct without explaining before. Right? Because this is an abstract, not the paper itself. And if you look at all this, he's talking about a very popular technique in empirical research that we used in the last 3 years, mediator-moderator approach. Now, let's go all the way now, we jump all the way to the end. To the end where the diagrams are. I think figure 1 and 2. Last page or second last page. Oh, some more, yeah, okay, some more. And this one I thought is crazy. Look at, okay, go on, go on. Go on, okay, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. Okay, that's good. Some more? Go down, all the way down. Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. Eh? This is, some more, just scroll all the way down. Okay, some more, go down. Pass the references. Pass the references. Some more, some more, some more. Okay, is this down? Where's the, go down some more? To page 20, yes, page 20. This 19. There's some more. I want to see the figure. The last page for mine. Okay, stop. Look at this. Is no doubt standard reporting. But the problem is, this is not good enough for a journal today. You've got to go more than that. Right? More fanciful statistics, unfortunately. So that's the danger of doing empirical research. Right? And the second part about this paper, as you went down just now, as you scroll down to this last page, you find that the references is crazy, right? You know, this guy, I think, had about 68 references for a paper. So now let me ask you a very honest question. How long would you take to read 68 papers in full and understand those papers completely? 1 hour? 2 hours? Okay, fine. You need a measure strong. Not hours, right? 1 day? 2 days? 1 day, 1 paper. So how many days are you going to consume just to read? 68 days. You know what happens now, right? By the time the 69th day comes, you try to write and do your survey. This is a survey piece, right? Do your survey, do your analysis. I'll tell you this, game over. Because why? Someone else has written something already. Right? And that's the scary part. Now, you know what's the reality? The reality is this. 99.9% of these people who write the papers, they do not read the references in full and complete. In short, what do? Title, abstract, keywords, done. And that's why in some journals they have this first page to support your paper, right? They say, you put in the purpose, your implications, your methods, and the value of paper, isn't it? Right? So that's why they ask, because they only read that first page. Right? The rest they actually did not bother to read. Okay? So, 2 papers we've dissected and discussed. Okay, so I'll leave it to you to think about how you want to approach your research thing. Now, the last thing I have for you for today before I close off and catch my flight, any other business or any other points that you want to raise, any other things that I can help you answer. Are you good? Okay, if you're good, then I'm good. I don't understand between you. Oh, yes, sorry.
Is there any effect that the passion you have for that industry have to make the road easier?
Sorry, you got to, not that you got a mic, I got to listen to your voice before you had the mic.
Okay, I was saying, I'm referring to your previous topics on how tough the journey is, and I'm about to embark on this journey. So I want to ask, is there any effect on the passion you have for the area of research? Does it have any effect to make the road easier for you?
Yes and no. Short answer to that is yes and no, in the sense that if I send a paper, if let's say you write, you send a paper out to review, and if your co-author is an established name in that area, the reviewers would know, because you've probably written enough papers around that area. So when I look at the paper, I'll tell you roughly who has done that work, and at 90% I'm there. I know who you work with in that sense, right? The second one, I assume you're talking about authorship, right? Yeah. The second refers to the kindness of your authors. Sometimes, you know, I don't care. I mean, I'm not going to be fast about alphabetical. What's more important is, you know, if you're a PhD student, it doesn't matter whether your name comes, you're a Z or whatever, or a Y. You know, it doesn't matter if you put your name first or whatever. I'm okay. In fact, if anything, I'll take the same cue that my supervisor did for me. It means I'll put your name first as the first author. Why? Because in some countries, the system is that they'll tell you, you know, when they apply for a grant, they'll tell you this, that I'm the first author. Or in some places say, I'm the contributing author. And what does that mean? It means that basically they did most of the work, right? But to me, it's very different. I would say, you want to work with me? Can, but it's a proviso. You put your name first? Can, it's a proviso. What is that? You handle all the admin with the reviewers and the editors. Because that is a tougher one. And simply because the other part for me is very simple. If you ask me to handle, I probably will lose track and I'll be lost in it because I'm too busy to handle all this emails that come in. Right? So that's what it is. Right? So you have to discuss with your authors, and as a simple word of advice, not that you ask a good question, usually it is good to sit down with your co-authors and establish a relationship in the beginning, before you even start the research. Because if you don't do that, then later, things like this, like for example, the first and second paper, right? It will happen, and it has happened already. Huh? Okay. Any others? Okay, no more. Okay, sorry, I think in the interest of time, I have to pause here. Yes, yes. Supervisors should do. Oh, I don't know. I am a bad supervisor. Okay, because I scold my students. And my students know it, because if you come and show me nothing, right, don't come and see me, because I will give you trouble. And if you show me things on the spot without preparing me ahead of time by sending me a soft copy, they also know that I cannot give good advice, and my discussion with the student is very short. I tend to request students to send stuff to me at least 2 days before, so I will read in the thing, and then they know that I've read it. And if I call them up for a meeting, they also know that it's bad news. But of course, I would like to think that when I meet students in the corridor, they don't look at me and they straight away do an about turn and walk the other way. Right? Because then I don't strike hell in them, but I want to make sure that they enjoy the process. But good supervision, I think, is that we owe it to the students to help them publish and publish well, and help them on their academic career if they choose to be academics, or if not, help them to find a good job in industry. Okay, so with that, I think my time is up. So let me just thank you for your patience for sitting through all this so patiently, right? So till we meet again, see you. Thanks.
Thank you, Prof. Marco, for sharing your valuable knowledge with all of us. Could we please have Professor Salapan on stage to kindly present the token of appreciation to Professor Marco?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got caught on all this again. Yeah.
Your students are your students. New Year is a student presenting
Thank you, professors. Let's now have a short break for 15 minutes. Refreshment is served on your left. We will recommence in 15 minutes, which is 12:30. Thank you.